Welcome to another video where we discuss an underrated game. The twist is replacing an emphasis on its story at a glance. Introducing Detriment, a parkour-oriented game that looks futuristic and happy at first sight. I am making this video in hopes of popularizing such an unpopular structurally made Roblox game. So let's talk about the tutorial level. A lot of you guys are not here for this stuff, so let me summarize what this quote-unquote level taught us. To put it simple, you, as a player, is able to jump, double jump, dash with E, wall jump on specific walls, cancel the state of airborne in the air, and you can create a lot more by combining them. There will be two more, which we will discuss later. Shiny red blocks will continuously damage you. On the other hand, the blue pads indicate that they're trampolines. Pressure plates act as the perpetrators for incorporating upcoming events. So let's begin with the story. Level A1. This is where it really starts. The player wakes up in a surprised manner, assumingly after a nightmare. Here, the player is able to interact with a lot of objects, but the main objective is to approach their fridge and crack open a Bloxy Cola. After drinking it, they start feeling drowsy and want to go back to sleep. Within the apartment room, you're able to check and see letters and papers scattered. Most important one being this from a company called Una. This designated letter informs that the player has been dismissed, also known as fired, from the position in the company due to undesired behavior and decisions. The letter also warns that actions will be purposed on the player if they do not conform to a company's decision in the dismissal. The position in question is specified on this report, consisting of information of Una's employees located on a table in front of the TV. It is inscribed that the player was a blueprint engineer, and the letter that we just covered up has been sent to us. The last clocked in data shows that the player had not gone to work since 5 days prior to our colleague's last clocked in data. One last thing, we last received our salary 23 days ago, in contrary to our workers who had been paid 3 days ago. The now still deprived and sleepy player heads back to bed. As time and days went by, the player woke up and again approached their fridge, only to realize that they had run out of Bloxy Colas. It is time to head out. The next setting takes place in an obby-based plaza with obstacles the player has to go through. Using all the knowledge about our abilities, we strive forward and do parkour to get to places. There, we can find NPCs and even talk to them. But sadly, most are just funny talks and they contribute nothing to the story. So for the purpose of conserving time, I will be skipping them. After going through a series of obbies and puzzles, we arrived at the plaza entrance. I would like to briefly point out an element in the game. Documents or newspapers can be collected and they're limited to an amount in each level. Just imagine them as the gold coins in Mario games. These usually show lines of text that might give us an insight into the lore. Unfortunately, there's a contrast between the player's story at a glance, which is the one that I'm discussing, and what is hidden from the players. So I won't be discussing the papers to avoid misinterpretations. I'm not MatPat. However, to sum it all, the government of our place, Robloxia, is a bit suspicious and it's not looking alright. Additionally, there could be an evil organization trying to do bad stuff. There you have it. Upon arriving to the desired spot, the player encounters Javsky, who mentions the government's doing and the country's lingering misfortunes. The player heads out into the futuristic Florescant district, whose floor or ground is ironically submerged by flowing water. New types of obstacles are found here, like the red damage bricks, spinning saws, and moving platforms. Subsequently, we reach this shopping plaza entrance, but unfortunately the gate is locked, so we find a shady hatch and deliberately fall into it. We make our next appearance in the next scene, set to be in an open train station. The gate towards the next point is locked, and the only way to unlock it is by activating 4 evenly placed panels. Each one is located by a corner of the map. Here, the spinning saws are more common. We're introduced to lasers, and this map will take plenty of your time away. Once the 4 panels are activated, the player can head to the resources site, which is an entrance to upcoming locations. After getting chased by a train, a white shining gate is introduced to our eyes and the level ends there. We walk into it and see a long and wide empty avenue. Our character makes steps in an attempt to cross it. All of a sudden, a red giant crystal emerges from the ground and starts corrupting our vision. Subsequently, more start spawning and contribute in the distortion. The player flees out of fear and heads in a room where they need to pull a lever to lift up a gate. Upon the gate being lifted, in the other room, a horrifying sight is being absorbed. The room contains scattered corpses all throughout the path, with one person alive being thrown off a pillar on the ground. We then try to validate if the thrown person is still alive, and well, he, with a red top hat and a t-shirt with the word VIP written on it, stands up. At first, he thought the player was a nemesis and told us to back over, but he realized he was wrong and apologized. The person by the name of Mark explained about the red crystal's doings, such as spreading and destroying city borders and turning people into creatures. Thus, evacuation had to be proposed by the survivors. The doubts in him arose with the thought that an entity called the Elysians will not be able to alleviate the situation with their current disposals. Nearing to his conclusion, Mark invited us to go with him to be his meat shield. The player neglected that and walked forward, but Mark ended up following us. While walking through his segment, the gate closes on both of the characters, and crystals, yet again, start to progressively appear. The only shelter we can flee into is this building that can be unlocked with the stomp of a pressure plate. Failing to accomplish it will lead to your vision being utterly distorted by the crystals and eventually your demise. Succeeding in doing so will result in both Mark and the player making their way into the building and meeting other evacuees. It is by this time that we're introduced to two other action binds. We can now make use of our punch with M1 and space plus M1 to initiate aerial attacks. The player then utilizes both to break down wooden planks to make their way out of the building. While trying to escape, the player, with Mark following from behind, stumbles across a room with a corrupted person lying next to a set of headphones. Mark was amused by the look of the headphones and tried to acquire it from the assumingly dead person. Turned out the person was not dead and was provoked. Out of fear, Mark walked out and we had to fight it. You can inflict damage on the corrupted individual by punching him. The player managed to defeat him and found despondent Mark. You, along with Mark, go through an entrance and step foot at a concourse. We both witnessed fragments of the red crystal dropping from the top, and so we looked up and discovered large amounts of it on the ceiling. Abruptly, a giant black drill appeared from the ground and started charging on the player's way. In response to that, both the player and Mark dodged, and then the drill put a stop to itself. What seems to be an armed soldier was elevated from the drill, and he was inscribed as Vance. Vance complained about how the people he met kept on interrupting him from doing his task. Mark then asked what task it was, to which Vance replied that he had a drill and was affiliated with the red shiny gems. Mark attempted to frighten Vance by stating he would be in trouble after Mark filed a report on him to the government. Hearing it and immediately being triggered, he started yelling and went back to his drill, which started the fight between the player and him. The fight was intense. The drill's damage sources vary from itself to rockets and lasers. Every once in a while, the drill will come out of the ground and take a leap in the air before finally crashing onto and getting stuck into the ground. The drill will now gradually descend in an attempt to flee. It is at this time that the player is able to safely attack it, but every hit that lands onto the drill will cause it to dig down faster. One pro tip from a person who has fought it: do not, under any circumstance, just stand still while waiting for the drill to become suspended on the ground, because when it is in the air, the drill is facing towards you. Thus, if that lands on you, you will get damaged. Additionally, do not also get close to the gray part, aka the drill. Even if it is stunned, you'll get damaged too. Defeating the drill will make it flashbang and unusable, leading to the flight of Vance with its jetpack. Mark was grateful that the player was able to defeat such a thing, but the player blamed the starting entirely on him. But they got things through, and so the journey continues in the next version. You see, as of I'm recording right now, the game is nowhere close to finish, and the current version should not be used to represent the game's future version. In my eyes, this game has got potential with its unique adventure style, involving parkour and fist combat. It is like what happens when you combine an obby with Street Fighter, but situated in the world of Still Wakes the Deep. Replace the entity with crystals instead. In fact, it was actually second to Blacktails in terms of underratedness, according to the game Better Discovery. So guys, don't forget to play this game, share this video, like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day.